This tank is the AMX 1357 GF. It's a French Tier 7 light tank. It's also a premium tank, and the map is Malinovka. I'm going to get 4,500 spotting damage. Now, the technique I use on this map is to rush across the field, spot as many tanks as I can, and hide in a bush somewhere. You can see that I was spotted. You just return back, get over that hill. They won't be able to hit you in this position. However, the problem is it might be a little bit difficult to retake an advanced position, especially because there's an enemy AMX 1357 in front of me. Unfortunately, the web developers have changed this map to make it harder to spot. So there's fewer spotting options. You used to be able to make it midfield. There were good spotting positions. You could spot, do a lot of damage early in the game, but they moved some of the bushes back or made some of the bushes smaller so that it was more difficult to accomplish that. This is one of my favorite tanks to play. I've already gotten 1,000 spotting damage. I like the fact that it has a rapid fire gun, is very maneuverable, somewhat small. I just wish it were tier 10. It has a good velocity for the ammunition, which means that when you fire the gun, the ammunition is going to get there a lot faster. Now, if you look at the minimap, there's only one tank within my spotting range, which is a Scorpion G, which means that it's pretty safe for me to advance to a bush that's closer to those tanks. So as you can see, I've noticed that there's a few tanks in my spotting range, so I'm advancing. I'm going to turn on those binocs, see what it finds. Every time that tank shows up over there, he's going to get nailed by my allies. So you can see I'm going to another bush, and then I'm going to turn the binocs on. You don't want to move too much. You want to try and get into position as quickly as possible so that your binocs turn on as quickly as possible. I'm going to become deadlier and deadlier for that Scorpion G. I could probably take up a closer position because the Scorpion G is probably on the other side of the hill, or possibly he left. If he's probably not in those bushes, I probably would have spotted him. If you want to know when to fire your gun, the bullet is going to land, the ammunition is going to land within that circle. So as the circle grows smaller, once the circle encompasses the tank, that's when you fire your gun. That's assuming that you don't care which part of the tank it hits. You don't have to wait for the circle to become as small as possible. I'm still going to wait for my binocs to turn on. Got more bushes I can advance into. I got good support, got a lot of tanks behind me. You can see that MT-25 never spotted me, although I more than likely spotted him. When you play, you want to learn how to spot first and add sniping later on once you've mastered spotting. And with the sniping, you have to have an exit plan. You have to know where you're going to go if you get spotted while you're sniping. I was a little slow to find a place to hide. Up to 1,500 spotting damage and 500 damage. The score is 5-2. You can see that we're going to win this game. We've got the enemy pretty much cornered. We've got them where we want them. We've got them surrounded fairly well. The enemy has few options. The only thing they can do is wait for us to approach them.
Penetration. Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Now, one thing I can do, you see there's a lot of water in front of me. Being in the water is a safe place to be because it's the lowest part of the map. So I could easily advance through the water, go all the way to the edge of the water, and then hide on the slope.
Penetration. Enemy armor is damaged.
I got 2,200 up to 2,259 spotting damage now. You want to stay as low as possible in the water. And then find a bush. For example, there's one on the left. Find a bush to roll into. You can see I got a good patch of bushes over here. All those tanks are probably against the red line. I've only got 2 shots loaded. I don't like to use the APCR, which is why I don't have them loaded. I should have reloaded with the APCR. I didn't realize, wasn't properly anticipating all the tanks I would have been able to shoot. Got 3,300 spotting damage. Obviously, I want to spot that tank as quickly as possible. Move perpendicularly to him to make it harder for him to shoot at me. And that's the game. I got 1,000 damage, 4,556 spotting damage, and 1 kill. This tank is the AMX 1357 GF. This is a French Tier 7 light tank, and the map is Fjords. I'm going to show you a sniping position on this map that you can use when you play this game. Now, this is one of my favorite tanks in the game. I like the AMX 13 line of tanks. I love this tank. I wish this were Tier 10. I like the rapid fire. I like the mobility. It's quick. Everything about it is great. I enjoy playing this tank. Now you got to notice that from here, enemy heavy tanks that are heading to the south have to pass through that gap. And by passing through that gap, if you've got an autoloader or a tank that does a lot of damage, like a derp gun, you can do a lot of damage to tanks passing through that gap at the beginning of the game. So this is an ambush position. Okay, so I didn't do any penetrations. And I was spotted. Now that the enemy tanks have advanced into their fighting position, they're going to be more difficult to hit. But there is an exception. If there's a lot of enemy tanks in that position, there might be some of the lower tier tanks that are going to hang back a little bit. And if the enemy team is losing and they have to retreat, then it's going to be easy to take shots at them. Yeah, this tank is the AMX 1357 GF. It's a French Tier 7 light tank. It's also probably my favorite tank in the game, and the map is Murovanka. I like this tank because it's got a really nice gun on it. It reloads very quickly.
and it's fast and it's nimble. I like this line of light tanks, the French light tanks. We're going to do some hit and run tactics over here. And one of the ways to do hit and run is to do it where there's a hill. And the reason why is because the enemy is preoccupied when they're next to a hill. They don't expect you to come jumping over the hill and pouncing on them. So what I like to do is find a tank that's sitting next to the hill, and then I jump on them. And almost always you can predict where their gun is going to be pointing. You can see there's a Tiger II up ahead. So that Tiger II looks like a good target. Again, he's going to be angling his tank in a certain way. He's going to have his gun pointed in a certain way. You want to come in from behind and take as many shots in the rear as you can and on the side. Avoid firing at the frontal armor. And here I go for my run. You got to watch that building. And that was it. That's a sample hit and run on the Tiger II. I did about 460 damage to the Tiger II. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots penetrated.
This tank is the AMX 1357 GF. This is a French Tier 7 light tank. The map is Overlord. The first thing, we're going to try and do some hit and run tactics. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head straight for the center and spot enemy tanks and make a quick decision as to whether or not I should take some shots at them or not. If I see a sucker, I'll take some shots. He's out of range. So I did 269 damage, and I received 135 damage. It's difficult to spot in this game. This is a brawling match, so I have to use the hit and run tactics. I'm going to look for a vulnerable tank, and I'm going to try and gang up on him. I'm going to try and surprise him. You notice we got the T-25 AT, who's a potential target, and we got the T-29, who's a potential target. So I did around 400 damage on that T-29. And I gauge whether or not I can go in safely, which way their gun is pointing, how he looks like he's vulnerable again, so I'm going in for a second run. And that shows you I was able to get around 700 or 800 damage against that T-29.